Well, I thought I'd share a little bit about, we'll say, some musings because my brain goes in lots of interesting directions and just thought I'd share. What can I say? So I went on a walk this morning and I don't listen to anything because I really enjoy being out in nature. However, my brain does all sorts of crazy things. So, for example, I was reflecting a little bit, no idea why my brain went here, about things that I learned when I was growing up. So, for example, looking carefully both ways before you cross the street. If you are biking on a street, you bike with traffic, but if you're walking on a street, you walk against traffic. Um, a couple of things around driving that I learned are we're supposed to come to a complete stop at a stop sign before we go anywhere from there, and that we are supposed to always use turn signals, whether it's for turning or for switching lanes. And that's really regardless of whether or not there are other cars around. Now, I do realize that I learned all this stuff slightly after the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And while I'm pretty sure that they teach all this today, um, I guess I've noticed that things are a little bit different. So, for example, people barely look up from their phone when they're crossing the street or walking on a busy sidewalk. That often, well, I'll say it irritates me. Rolling stops are the norm at a stop sign. The actual stopping often doesn't happen. And yeah, don't even get me started on turn signals. That's a big grievance of mine. But then from there, my brain went into, okay, awareness. So people on their phones, whether in a car or walking, aren't necessarily as aware of others around them as they may think. And this can lead to harm for themselves or others. And I know this because I have a friend who actually got hit by a car, even though she herself was being extremely careful, but the person driving the car was not. And it has turned into a big thing, as you might imagine. So awareness is a skill. And it, really helps people to lead intentional lives. And that leads to habits, which is where my brain went next. So, for example, I've heard people say, "Oh, I usually use my turn signal when I'm driving," or "I use my turn signal when I need to." Yet, I know from the drivers around me that that is often not necessarily true. And I also know that from a brain perspective, you conserve energy when you develop habits that you do automatically, that you don't have to think about. And of course, there are plenty of other habits outside of driving plenty of other places outside of driving where habits come in handy. Now, all of this led me to how I help my clients because they hire me when they want to optimize their life after a medical diagnosis, whether it's a brain-based disorder, an autoimmune disease, or a brain-based condition. And so I spend a lot of time coaching clients around awareness and habits because it's really the basis for helping them become successful at crossing off to-dos, managing paperwork, and optimizing time, which is what I help them with. So I would just love to know from my little ramblings here, if you have any feedback, ideas, or takeaways from my little musings. And if you do, I would love for you to comment below. Thanks a lot, Janice Russell with Janice Russell Coaching and Consulting.